here at the superb 3.1-mile circuit at Imola. And today, the hills of Imola are alive with the sound of the tifosi, the passionate Italian motor racing enthusiasts who worship Ferrari. They're hungry for success, for after the first 3 Grand Prix of 1983, Ferrari is only 4th in the Constructors' Championship, led by McLaren, and their best place has been 3rd. Nelson Piquet leads the Drivers' Championship ahead of Lauda, Watson and Prost tying for 3rd, Jacques Laffite and Patrick Tambay. But today, the tifosi are euphoric, for in pole position on the grid, it's Ferrari's René Arnoux, alongside Piquet's Brabham, and 3rd fastest, the 2nd Ferrari, Tambay's. 4th, Alain Prost, 5th, Riccardo Patrese, 6th, Eddie Cheever, 7th, Manfred Winkelhock, and 8th, Andrea de Cesaris. René Arnoux loves Imola, and with his pole position for Ferrari, he's in an emotion-laden situation. He was first on the grid last year too, but in a Renault then, and after he'd led the race and retired, it developed into an unforgettable duel between the Ferraris of Gilles Villeneuve and his teammate Didier Pironi. Tragically, it was to be Villeneuve's last race, and Pironi was later to incur grave injuries in Germany. This is lap 60, the last lap. We are around the Tamburello, and see Pironi now. He's going through.
He's got to come down the inside. He's got him. Oh, he's going wide. Whoa!
Well, in the end, the race was actually won by Didier Pironi, who just beat his teammate Gilles Villeneuve. And there, awaiting the arrival of pole position man René Arnoux this year, is the V6 turbocharged Ferrari. René Arnoux, tremendously popular with the Italian crowd, notwithstanding the fact that he's a Frenchman, and the fact that he's in pole position here today has made him even more popular, and he has, of course, a tremendous weight of responsibility on his shoulders. Nelson Piquet, leading the World Championship, 2nd in practice here at Imola, on the front row of the grid in his Brabham BMW. Eddie Cheever is 6th fastest on the grid. This is his first year with Renault. He's driven extremely well. Indeed, he finished in 3rd position in France. So, there they are, on the left at the front, in the Scarlet Ferrari, René Arnoux. Behind him, Nelson Piquet. Behind Arnoux, in 3rd fastest place, Patrick Tambay. And of course, this is what the Italians have come to see, the 2 Ferraris up front. In 4th fastest position, Alain Prost, the winner of the French Grand Prix. Then Riccardo Patrese in the white and blue Brabham Turbo. Alongside Patrese is Eddie Cheever. Then, just in your picture, the ATS of Manfred Winkelhock. He had trouble in the warm-up today and wasn't able to go out because of turbocharger trouble, and it's 60 laps to go. And left on the line is Nelson Piquet. Right at the beginning of the race, Nelson Piquet is left on the line, and straight up to the front go the 2 Ferraris of René Arnoux and Patrick Tambay. And with them, the Renault, and now Riccardo Patrese trying to go through. Well, already drama at the beginning of the San Marino Grand Prix with Riccardo Patrese in 3rd place. Nelson Piquet is being pushed away from the line, but the brilliant Brazilian, of whom we expected so much, has really got a challenge now. He's got to fight his way up through the field against terrific odds with the 2 Ferraris way out in front.
Great shame about Nelson Piquet being left on the grid. He did in fact get away, although he received, we understand, a push start, so that may bring him up for some discussion as to the validity of that. But he's half a lap down. But Patrese has stepped into his role and is pressuring Tambay, and in the meantime Arnoux looks quite comfortable at the front. He's got a little bit of a lead. Patrese is looking for a way around Tambay there.
And there is Prost in trouble already. Prost is in trouble.
Yeah, that looks like an engine blur, yes. Or is that Cheever? That looks like Eddie Cheever. Eddie Cheever looks like... yeah, Eddie Cheever with turbocharger problem. Ignore the caption. So that's one of the Renaults gone already. Well, we've certainly got something to warm up the Italian crowd here. We've got Ferraris 1st and 2nd, and Italian drivers 3rd and 5th. So at the moment, the San Marino Grand Prix is being heavily Italian dominated, which will certainly please this capacity crowd.
This is tremendously interesting because it's very hot here at Imola, and it's going to get even hotter, and the heat adversely affects the turbocharged cars. It may be that it's the heat that is already affecting Eddie Cheever's car, and it was Eddie Cheever, because there is Tombe, and Patrese is there now. There is Patrese, followed by Tombe, followed by Alain Prost. So the Ferraris are up at the front. René Arnoux you see leading. Now, I wonder, as Eddie Cheever comes into the pits, is Riccardo Patrese, who now has the hopes of the Brabham BMW team resting on his shoulders, going to be able to catch and pass René Arnoux as he got past Patrick Tombe. That's Roberto Guerrero spinning off. Yes, that's Roberto Guerrero, the Colombian driver, on lap 3, spinning off. It's very significant that the Brabham is much improved from the French Grand Prix, because between France and here, the team, and there's Patrese goes through and takes the lead, and that was what we expected Nelson Piquet to be doing had he not been left. And I was saying that the Brabham is much improved, as you see it on the replay. Riccardo Patrese, lap 6, takes the lead from René Arnoux, and Patrick Tombe and Alain Prost are still fighting as they come through to complete the lap. And you can see that Prost is catching Tombe in the background there. The gap between Patrese, the leader, and the fourth place man in the background there, Alain Prost, is only 2.2 seconds. That looks like it's Alboreto. Alboreto out of the race. We can't see the car. Sure enough, the distinctive helmet of Michele Alboreto in the Tyrrell out of the race on lap 12, and Alboreto was in 11th place. And that means to say that Mansell moves up into 11th place, Watson moves up into 12th place, Nelson Piquet moves up into 13th place, and there's a long way to go in this heat-sapping race, particularly as far as the turbos are concerned. Giro 10, that means lap 10 in the lead. Number 6, Patrese. In second place, number 28, Arnoux. In third position, number 27, Tombe. In fourth position, number 15, Prost. In fifth position, number 22, De Cesaris. And in sixth position, number 1, world champion, Keke Rosberg. It's Niki Lauda. That's Lauda out. Well, I don't know why we're not getting shots of the cars. It almost looks as though these drivers are walking round from what we're seeing of them. But anyway, Niki Lauda, the world champion of 1975 and 1977, out of the San Marino Grand Prix on lap 13, and he was in 9th position.
And there is John Watson, who is up into 11th place and making steady progress through the field, and that's Nelson Piquet right in front of Watson. So Piquet's got past Watson, but Piquet's progress is not quite as rapid as I expected or as it was. I think he slowed down. He may possibly have gone very hard on his tyres and got them a little bit hot, because he was certainly going better a few laps ago.
And I wonder whether there have been any changes to the previous decisions about refueling. We are, I would imagine, without a doubt, going to see Patrese come in on his scheduled lap, which is either lap 34 or lap 36. Alain Prost is due to come in about that time. And that could well change the course of the race, because if anybody does anything wrong, and there are at least, believe it or not, 10 men working on each car when they refuel. The Brabham has got inbuilt power jacks, which are operated by air pressure, unlike the other cars, all of which will have hand lift jacks, one at the back and one at the front. So there's men to operate the jacks. There are at least there's 2 men on each wheel. Ferrari have got a most incredible drill where one man removes the nut, and there is René Arnoux. René Arnoux into the pits. Now, this is going to be the first tyre change, just as I was talking about it. René Arnoux on lap 21 in second place. You see the fuel in, you see the identically garbed Ferrari mechanics. Up go the pneumatic spanners to indicate Then down go the jacks, out comes the fuel line, off goes René Arnoux. You see 16 seconds, it depends when you take it. I made it 17.4.
That was interesting in that the fuel appeared to be the longest section of the stop. I noticed that all four corner men, the mechanic, when he's changed the wheel, in order to indicate that his corner is ready to go, he raises his pneumatic wheel hammer above his head, and they were all finished before the fuel line came off. So there is René Arnoux. Now he is on fresh tyres. He'll be taking a lap or two to get those warmed up, so he'll be slithering about a little bit, getting the feel of them, because the car always feels rather different when you've just put a new set of tyres on.
It's still Riccardo Patrese leading. It's still Patrick Tambay in second place, with Prost third, De Cesaris in fourth position. So René Arnoux has gone down to fifth place, presumably because De Cesaris caught him while Arnoux is driving on coldish tyres. And Rosberg is sixth.
Yes, I would expect Arnoux to restore that as soon as he's got his tyres warmed up and got comfortable. He came out of the pits just in front of De Cesaris, and De Cesaris, as you rightly say, caught him when he was still getting the feel of the new tyres and getting the temperature into him.
Well, the Alpha pit stop situation is actually wrapped in mystery. I think they're going to come in and change tyres, probably, but I don't think they're going to refuel. But since changing tyres now seems to take longer than taking on as much as 25 gallons of fuel, it won't necessarily alter the situation. And now, on lap 28, it is that man, Riccardo Patrese, leading, Patrick Tambay second, Prost is third, so it is Brabham BMW, Ferrari, Renault. In fourth position, it's Andrea De Cesaris in the Alpha, in fifth position, and there is Prost into the pits. Right, now you can see the difference, and you can see the seconds ticking away. René Arnoux took 16 seconds. Alain Prost is, or was, in third position. The hoses are clear. The jacks go out and away. In 16.4 seconds goes Alain Prost, who was, as I say, in third position when he came into the pits. He was a long way ahead of Andrea De Cesaris. And like René Arnoux, Alain Prost is on fresh tyres. René Arnoux on fresh Goodyear tyres, Alain Prost on fresh Michelin tyres. There is Patrick Tambay, who has yet to come in and must surely come in very soon to make his pit stop, because this is lap 28 and his teammate René Arnoux went in 7 laps ago on lap 21. So let's watch very closely. Patrick Tambay and De Cesaris has stopped in the pit. We haven't seen it, but De Cesaris, who was in fourth position, came into the pits, and that will therefore affect his race position. As we look down on John Watson now, as Patrese comes up to take the Nigel Mansell. Mansell is in 12th position, so Patrese has lapped Mansell, who is 12th, and he is about to lap John Watson, who is in 11th place. That's Keke Rosberg, who is 5th now, because he's ahead of Andrea De Cesaris as a result of the Italian and the Alfa Romeo going into the pits. And we are looking at the battle between John Watson, who is 11th, and Nigel Mansell, who is in 12th position. Off goes Cecotto. Cecotto has gone out of the race. This is a bad race for Theodore, because now on lap 29, Johnny Cecotto, the Venezuelan, goes off but drives on mysteriously. I think he's just parking the car safely.
Yes, can't work out what he's doing. I think he may be spun. And Alain Prost, pit stop was pretty good. He lost only the one position to René Arnoux, and that's so their pit stops were of a similar length actually stopped, and the result's the same because he has rejoined something like 6 seconds behind René Arnoux, which is about where they had been relatively until Arnoux stopped. So no real change out of the first 2 pit stops that we've seen, but we still have the 2 front men, Riccardo Patrese, who we see here leading the race. He has yet to stop, and so of course is Patrick Tambay, and a big pressure moment for both of their pit crews. The Brabham team has done a lot of work on their refueling and tyre changing efficiency. They've practiced an awful lot and got it down to a fine art in dry runs. But dry runs are one thing, and the real thing with hot hubs, hot wheels, and the general panic pressure of the race only needs a little mistake. Oh dear!
That is Derek Warwick. Derek Warwick has gone off in a big way on the Tolman, and you can see that he's all right, and he disgustedly throws his steering wheel into the car, and I should think Derek will be heartily pleased that the San Marino Grand Prix of 1983 is over for him. He's had just about everything that could possibly go wrong with his car go wrong with it. He's had ignition trouble, he's had turbocharger trouble, he's had gearbox trouble, he had a fire in the cockpit, and now he's gone off and is out of the race on lap 30 in this 60-lap race. So only half of it run for Warwick. And Patrese is on his way, and he's catching now Jacques Lafitte, the Frenchman in the Williams Ford. And Jacques Lafitte is in 10th position as we look at lap 30. There's Patrese. Now let's see how the turbocharged Brabham goes compared with the great Jacques Lafitte's Williams, and the answer is very well indeed, because they're coming through now, as far as Piquet is concerned, to complete his 30th lap. It's not going to be very long now before he comes in to make his pit stop, I'm sure. Another couple of laps or so. And look at the gap he's pulled out between himself and Jacques Lafitte, therefore, who has been lapped in 10th position. And as we look at Patrese on lap 31, into the pits comes Nigel Mansell. Now, this is interesting. This is the first time that the John Player Special Team have made a pit stop in Grand Prix, and they've got a gravity-fed fuel system as opposed to the pressurized systems of all the other teams, and it looks like a pretty good stop. Well, it's as good as the others. 16.4 seconds for Nigel Mansell, 16.4 seconds, exactly the same as Alain Prost, a whisker slower than that of René Arnoux, and he did it on lap 31. And here's Rosberg in 5th position, now making his pit stop. Remember, he had a flash fire in Brazil. The Williams team have been practicing very hard indeed in their distinctive outfits. It's making Grand Prix racing even more colourful than it was before, and they've got to try and beat a time of about 16 seconds, and they've done it. That's the quickest pit stop we've had. Rosberg, 14.1.
Tracy's scrabbling his way through past De Angelis, but he makes it a little bit fraught there. Here we go. De Angelis doesn't make it. De Angelis, a little mistake there, slid wide, but without damage, just a little bit of fun. Oh dear, yeah. But don't get much grip on that nice lush grass, I can tell you that for nothing. And oh, here we see it again. And Patrick Tambay is just coming into the pits. Here is Patrick Tambay. Let's see how Ferrari are doing it. We haven't got our little clock in the corner. There it goes. You see, no panic, nice and cool and calm. That's the way to do it. And a very quick one. We got one wheel still struggling on the left front. Oh, and they were nearly finished after about 11 seconds, and then a bit of a slow one with the right front wheel there on Tambay. But still 15 seconds, that's as good as anybody, and that should keep Patrick Tambay well up there. So
you are looking at the 1981 world champion Nelson Piquet. The race has been transformed. The Brazilian who got away last after not starting properly is now coming up through the field, and that's Mauro Baldi stopping, and you'll notice that they are refueling. The Alfa Romeo team too have never done a pit stop before. The fastest pit stop we've had so far is that of Keke Rosberg, 14.1 seconds. This is very good considering it's their first race stop, but the jacks are still held. There is a problem, and Mauro Baldi with the left front wheel stationary because they were having trouble getting the nut tied up has taken by far the longest pit stop of all, 24 seconds. And I was talking about Nelson Piquet. Well, he got away last. He is now up to 5th position, would you believe, because Riccardo Patrese, as we look at his teammate Nelson Piquet, who has yet to make a pit stop, is leading. Patrick Tambay has made his pit stop and is second. René Arnoux has 2. In 4th place is Prost, and 5th is Piquet, 6th De Cesaris. We are now on lap 34, and the 2 Brabhams were scheduled to come in on laps 32 and 34. Well, neither of them have come in yet, and there is Patrese, the race leader, on lap 34. Stop! The second tick away. The fuel is going in 50 pounds per square inch pressure. The wheels are on. They've got to beat a fastest time of Keke Rosberg, 14.1. Right front is on, and it's a slow stop compared with some of the others. They're on a pneumatic jacking system, and Patrese is losing time. Patrick Tambay will be into the lead.
Yeah, the right rear wheel wasn't going on well, and I have to say I spotted a mistake by Riccardo Patrese in the pits. I don't know whether you noticed it at home, but his left rear wheel was turning, which meant that he hadn't got his foot on the brake when the car was on the jack.
And we are on lap 36, and in the lead is still Patrick Tambay. In 2nd position, Riccardo Patrese. In 3rd place is René Arnoux. In 4th place is Alain Prost. 5th is Nelson Piquet. In 6th position, Andrea De Cesaris. Then 7th, Lafitte. 8th, Rosberg, who is pit stopped. 9th, De Angelis. 10th, John Watson. 11th, Jarier. And in 12th position, Mauro Baldi, who, of course, has also pit stopped. And there is the new race leader, number 27, on lap 36, Patrick Tambay in the Ferrari. Into the pits comes Nelson Piquet. Now, the Brabham team have been tremendously fast and setting the standard in the past. You can't see a digital clock because there isn't one, but I've got my stopwatch running. There it is, and away goes Piquet, and by far the fastest, 11.2 seconds, and Piquet will be in his 5th place, retaining it, and now on fresh rubber. Now the gap between Patrick Tambay and Nelson Piquet is a very considerable one. It's about 50 seconds, and it's inconceivable that even somebody like Piquet, world champion of 1981, can catch Tambay unless the Frenchman in the Ferrari has trouble. Now, while you look at Tambay, I am looking for Riccardo Patrese. I've got my stopwatch running, and the gap is 7.84 seconds. And there is Riccardo Patrese, and Arnoux. So Arnoux is getting very close. And I remind you that the following, and this is the race order on lap 39, have all done their pit stops. Tambay leading, Patrese 2nd, Arnoux 3rd, Prost 4th, De Cesaris 5th, Piquet 6th, and Rosberg 7th.
And this is indeed exciting, because it looks as if we're on schedule for some sort of a grandstand finish if the pattern continues, because not only is Patrese catching Tambay, but Arnoux is catching as well. So let's hope we're going to get a concertina effect up to the leader and have a real battle to the line.
That is Danny Sullivan's car. Danny Sullivan has gone off where Derek Warwick went off. In fact, absolutely looks as though he's gone into him from here.
It's a rather neat bit of parking.
Into the pit comes Nelson Piquet, and on lap 44, it rather looks as though Nelson Piquet's race is run. Now, Tambay is on lap 48. The V6 over 600. And look at Patrese. Look at him fairly flying round there. The gap was over 6 seconds, and undoubtedly Riccardo Patrese in the turbocharged Brabham BMW is gaining on Tambay and is the fastest man on the course. The gap is 4.3 seconds at the end of lap 48 with 12 laps to go. And he's off. He's coming into the pits, De Cesaris. Now, is this to change tyres? Is it because he's got some more terminal trouble? He's going very slowly. He's coasting into the pits. And now well, there's no frenzied activity. Well, fuel going in. This is the man who was in 5th position, and that's the answer to De Cesaris' problem. A great burst of smoke. Off come the belts, and Andrea De Cesaris retires. This is Patrick Tambay's 59th Grand Prix, and Riccardo Patrese behind him is in his 85th Grand Prix. and we are coming up to the end of lap 54 in this 60-lap race.
He's closing now. The Ferrari, of course, remember, making the hole in the air as they're about to appear under the bridge. We'll see. And Patresi's done it. He's towed past him on the straight. And so that, it's a pity we missed that, but obviously the Brabham got into the draft, and Patresi's having a little celebratory twitch. No problem there. That wasn't a mistake. He was just giving a bit of exuberance on the throttle to put the back out. Now he's in the lead, and well pleased he should be. Heading now, he's only got to stand up, and the car's got to hold together to win this race, because he's quicker than Tambay, and Tambay really should have no reply. But Tambay is knocking out Patresi. Oh dear, that's a terrible mistake by Patresi. Only got to stand up, I said, and I have to say that looked like a real bit of Italian temperament from Riccardo Patresi, and the crowd have indeed confirmed that they prefer cars to people, because they've gone wild with delight, which is also fairly standard in their normal sporting behaviour. But here we see it again. Patresi, now he gets off the line onto the marbles and straight off, and that was really just a terrible mistake by Patresi. He obviously his concentration was at fault. That little twitch that I said was exuberant and celebratory when he went through before looked like I'm afraid he just got completely overexcited, or so it would appear. I mean, one has to bear in mind always the possibility that something could have gone with the car. And that's René Arnoux stopped on the circuit. We can't see why. He seems to be trying to get it started again.
Well, what an incredible finish, because this is really going to blow the San Marino Grand Prix wide open. René Arnoux seemingly out of the race, and now Patrick Tambay leads, and that means to say that up to second place will come Prost. Up to third position will come Keke Rosberg, fourth John Watson, fifth Mauro Baldi, and sixth Mark Sura in the arrows in the points again, as René Arnoux joins Patresi's Brabham BMW in the dead car park. And thank heavens Patresi is perfectly all right, which shows how very, very strong modern Grand Prix cars are. We are on lap 56 out of 60, and the new and seemingly permanent race leader is Patrick Tambay. Is Arnoux coming back? Yes.
Yes, but it looks as if Arnoux had a spin at the same corner that Riccardo Patresi went off at, and there have been reports of the circuit breaking up, and I think it's probably fair to say that that corner may have got a little bit slippery, because it's probably more than a coincidence that they both went off there.
And that is Alain Prost, that we haven't seen for a long time, and he's been caught by John Watson. But Prost is a lap ahead of Watson. There is the race leader. It is Patrick Tambay. He is on lap 59 as he goes into the 125-mile-an-hour third gear bend at the Rivazza. Accelerates his way, and you can see the Ferrari flags waving in the background. The crowd has got the scent of an Italian Ferrari victory in their nostrils, and they love it. Now, Tambay completes very shortly lap 59. He is on his last lap, and I'm sure that we will be going round with him. He is now into the sweeping 180-mile-an-hour left-hander at the Tamburello. A bit of an uphill drag. The Rettifilio, fifth gear. There's Arnoux in third position behind Prost, and that's Nigel Mansell spinning, and he's recovered the car. He just gives it a light tap, and you see that there's no rear wing. He seems to have lost the rear wing of his car, and Patrick Tambay is now up the Rettifilio for the last time.
Yeah, that's a very nasty thing to happen indeed. The loss of the rear wing. There you are, you see. No adhesion at all at the back, in a very elegant little pirouette. And Mansell, I have to say, was relatively lucky to get that stopped without further ado or damage. That must have been a terrible frightener for him, because it happened at the fastest part of the circuit, coming in onto the brakes at the end of the main straight. Is one of the Alphas stopped, but through all the smoke I can't see who it is.
It's Mauro Baldi, of course. De Cesaris out of the race already. So in the closing stages, Baldi goes out of the race. He was in sixth position, and that means to say that Mark Sura will once again be in the points, as into the last almost major bend, the Rivazza, for the last time, the 60th lap. Patrick Tambay is now almost home for his second Grand Prix win. An absolutely magnificent victory. He couldn't have done it in front of a more responsive crowd. And they're already running forward as Tambay tours across the line, goes comparatively slowly, misfiring a bit. He waves with every justification. And the San Marino Grand Prix, look how exalted he is, has been won by Patrick Tambay. Is he pleased? What a terrific San Marino Grand Prix. Victory to Patrick Tambay in the Ferrari. Second, Alain Prost, Renault. Third, René Arnoux, Ferrari. Fourth, Keke Rosberg, Williams. Fifth, John Watson, McLaren. Sixth, Mark Sura, Arrows. And that means to say that in the World Championship, Nelson Piquet and Alain Prost now lead with 15 points. In third position, just 1 point behind Patrick Tambay. Fourth, John Watson with 11 points. Niki Lauda with 10 and René Arnoux with 8. Keke Rosberg, you were fourth in the race today, and you're fourth in the World Championship only if the 6 points you got in Brazil are allowed on appeal from your disqualification. What do you think the chances are of that happening?
Well, you never know about those appeals. I can only hope and pray that I'll get them back. I somehow feel I deserved them in Brazil as well after sitting in fire and all the rest. I don't think we got an unfair advantage out of the push start anyway, plus we didn't harm or danger anybody else. But it's one of those political decisions. We've got to wait and see what happens on that.
Well, you were today the first 3-litre car, 3 turbos ahead of you. Drive as you would, fourth was the best you could get. Do you think the days of the normally aspirated engine are over?
To make it sound like a 3-litre against 1.5 was an advantage. Now, I think on tracks like this and Paul Ricard, it's extremely difficult. We sacrifice all the downforce from the rear wing for the straight line speed. We just have to do that, and after that, we're very slow in the corners as well. So whatever we do, we're basically losing everywhere.
Well, 2 weeks' time, it's Monaco. Are things going to be better for you there?
I hope so, but it's difficult to say. The turbo engine at the moment talks about qualifying power 770, 780 horsepower, as one turbo driver told me this weekend. In Monte Carlo, 520 against 780 is just going to look very bad on the grid for the start. Even if you can lap quicker in the race, Monte Carlo is the only place in the world where there's just no overtaking at all. And qualifying is all that matters in Monte Carlo for winning, not for a top result. Top result takes a lot of nerve and patience. I didn't have it last year. I'll try it again this year.
Would you like to stick your neck out and say where Rosberg will finish in the World Championship this year?
No, I wouldn't, but hopefully in front. But it looks difficult.
And now we move in a fortnight's time to probably the most exciting and glamorous scene of all, to Monaco. Join us to watch it on Grand Prix.